Right, so Eternals is a movie that exists. I want to talk about it. I Going into this, I had mixed expectations because it's a team that I know next to nothing about. And going into this movie, I thought I have a general understanding of what this movie is going to be, and the movie was exactly the opposite of what I thought it was going to be, and that's a good thing. That's a really good thing, because I'm gonna say it right now. I think Eternals is the best Marvel movie to come out this year. I know that's not saying much because the other two were Black Widow, which, you know, my opinion is that movie sucks. That movie is probably one of the worst Marvel movies ever. It just doesn't do what it needed to do. And Shang-Chi, which was just meh, which was just middle of the road, exactly what a Marvel movie should be, but being nothing that you wanted it to be. Eternals is the first Marvel movie, I think, that has ever tried to be a movie, not just an episode in a series. It's felt like every Marvel movie up to this point, excluding something like Guardians of the Galaxy or the first Iron Man, it feels like every Marvel movie has been an episode in a series, and you get the kind of what's coming next in the after credit scenes, which both of them are very good. Stay for both of them, but if you just watch the movie itself, it's very self-contained, and yes, it does reference Thanos, and yes, it does, leave with a stinger that's going to probably affect the rest of the Marvel universe, because yes, characters may not reference the Eternals, but something happens at the end of this movie where you can't really be like, oh shit, that no one else saw that big thing. No. I will get into spoiler territory, because the movie's been out for over a week, so if you haven't seen it and you want to see it, you won't be watching my video about it. If you're watching this video, you've probably seen the movie. You're not going to look at a movie review before seeing a movie, unless if it's like a shitty one in a magazine, which will, if it's for this movie, will just tell you that Eternals is nothing that you want to see if you're a Marvel fan. And, no, Eternals is everything you want to see if you're a Marvel fan. I mean, it's different, it feels different, it feels like a different movie, it doesn't feel like an MCU movie. And that's a really good thing, because every MCU movie feels like the same thing. And it's the first MCU movie, in my opinion, in a while that has felt like one movie. It's felt like one movie. Shang-Chi felt like two movies. It felt like the first half was martial arts movie, really good. The first half of Shang-Chi is some of the best MCU stuff you'll ever see. Some of the best, it's up there with some great martial arts movies, and then it just becomes a clusterfuck at the end. Eternals is, throughout the movie, the tone is very, it starts off very are we supposed to like these characters? We're not, are we? They're kind of dicks, and there's kind of this god complex, and then we find out, and then we get to learn about these characters, and we're like, oh shit, these characters are likable, and they're not likable from the get-go. They become likable because they kind of become human as they stay on Earth, and it makes it really cool to see how Earth changes these characters and makes them kind of more relatable and kind of gives them different personalities. And obviously some characters are going to be more relatable than others. I feel like the one thing that confuses me about this movie is Druig, and why he's like the one that stands up for humanity, when in the comics Druig is an asshole. Druig is the biggest asshole. So why did they choose? No, he's the one that's going to be either the most sympathetic or the most kind of... He's going to be the most complex character in this. We have Fastos, who, just by watching the trailer, he's like, yeah, he's funny, and yeah, I like that. He's a different kind of funny to what we've seen in the MCU so far. It's not like an in-your-face kind of humor. It's more of like, oh yeah, he's just kind of, he's funny like humans are funny. He's funny like people are funny. He says funny shit in conversation, and he works. He's also the first like on-screen openly gay character in the MCU, which I guess is a big deal. It doesn't feel like a big deal, but then you realise how the world works, and you're like, oh shit, yeah, this is a big deal. We also have the first on-screen deaf character, or deaf like main character, deaf superhero, or like deaf or mute. She uses sign language. Makari uses sign language. I thought that was a thing that they weren't going to do in this movie, but they were going to have her become deaf or mute going forward into other movies. I'm surprised they did make her mute in this. It's interesting because sign language is not something that we get to see a lot of in movies, and seeing it in a movie like this, seeing it in this like big of a movie, it's great. Hopefully more people get to learn sign language through this, because you know it's important, and it's an important thing to learn. But yeah, I just think that the movie did a really good job. It did a really good job. The only thing I don't like is the villain. The villain isn't even named. It's just like, oh, there's a deviant that's more powerful than the rest. It can heal itself, and it becomes more humanoid throughout the movie. It becomes less frightening during the movie, and then they kind of beat it in a shitty way where Athena just slashes it, and you know, there's no real climax to that. And there's no real climax to that specific deviant, that specific character. You don't get much on them or why they are the way that they are. It's just like, oh yeah, they say one thing that kind of makes them relatable, but then no. It's just like, oh yeah, we'll bait and switch Icarus, and he's going to be the bad guy, which I liked. I liked that he was just like full on shithead dickhead. Like, I like that, and I like that turn for Icarus. It's kind of like, yeah, your Superman analog is actually the villain of the movie, which is cool, and it's cool that we don't really see in most movies the bad guy being like the good guy for most of it. You viewing the villain as the hero or the protagonist as most of the movie, and then they do a bait and switch, and it's like, oh shit, yeah, he's a bad guy. Like, you don't see that in many Marvel movies, and I really appreciate this movie for doing that, and it did it in a really cool way. Like, I didn't expect Icarus to be like the villain of the movie. I thought, yeah, maybe he's gonna have this like bad guy thing, and then he's going to turn in the end when he sees like one of the other Eternals in danger. He's gonna have that hero turn at the end. No, he's just a bad guy, and then the Eternals win, and he flies into the sun, which is cool. It's a cool scene having him fly into the sun. It's a really cool scene. I like it. Yeah, the only thing I like Kumail Nanjiani in this movie, which I didn't think I would. I thought he'd get annoying. Because I saw a lot of the promotional stuff. It's like the one where he's like driving in a car trying to find a parking spot. And I'm like, oh shit, is that like what his character's going to be like in the movie? No, he's actually a really cool character in the movie, and he has like this entourage guy who keeps following him. And then when the Eternals are like, oh shit, the world's going to end, like, this guy should really go back to his family. He's like, thank you for everything you did for us. And it's like, that's a really cool moment, because throughout the whole movie, this guy had been, like, he was comic relief, essentially. And then he comes out with this really cool line. But Kingo is the one character that isn't in the climax of the movie. He's like, I won't hurt any of my friends. I won't hurt any of my family. But I do technically agree with Icarus, so I'm not going to be involved, because I would side with Icarus, but I don't want to hurt any of you. So, yeah, good luck. I'm going back to India. Or I'm going back to Bollywood. I appreciate that. It makes his character a bit more complex, a bit more interesting, but also he's just not in the final third of the movie, which is kind of sucky. But we do get to see all the other characters do really well, and we get to see like Cersei be like a badass, and that's really cool. Also, I want to talk about Kit Harington. I want to get into the spoilers at the end for the after credit scenes. Again, if you haven't seen the movie, go watch the movie. If you got to this far, you've already been spoiled for most of the movie anyway. But I'm interested. I'm going to talk about the first one first. The first after credit scene first. It's the Eternals on a ship, and then Pip the motherfucking Troll comes out, played by Patton Oswalt. Not the first MCU character Patton Oswalt has played. He played like this weird twin character in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I guess kind of is in the MCU, but also not. But sometimes is. I mean, Sif appears in the show a couple times, and Samuel L. Jackson's in the show, and also Clark Gregg. So, you know, it's in the MCU. So Patton Oswalt is already technically a character in the MCU, but now he's Pip the Troll. Is Pip the Troll going to be in any more movies? He might just be a character like Howard the Duck, where he appears as like a little joke in some of the movies. I like him coming in. The CG is terrible. The CG is shit. But he's like welcoming the brother of Thanos, Eros, god of love and sex, and out of the shadow walks Harry Styles in a fucking spacesuit, and we're like, and obviously people lose their shit because it's fucking Harry Styles in a Marvel movie. It's like, what the fuck is this? Like, and I'm interested to see where they go with that character, because Harry Styles is on a fucking 5-movie contract. Like, why? For Star Fox? Really? That character is going to be in 5 movies? What? We don't even know if one of them is the Eternal sequel or not, because this movie isn't doing very well. So, Star Fox. Harry Styles is Star Fox. What the hell? What the hell, Kevin Feige? What made you think of that? Let's get Harry Styles as Star Fox and put him in 4 fucking movies. This is why I love living in this timeline, because I get to say things like that, and I realise I'm at work saying things like that. Like, oh my god. But the second one has me more excited because it's characters I actually know. Kit Harington plays Dane Whitman, and at the end of the movie, just before the giant celestial shows up and takes everyone away, he's like, I want to talk to you about my family history. If you know anything about Dane Whitman, you know that he's the Black Knight. His family is like a long line of Black Knights. His uncle was actually the Black Knight, was a villain for the Avengers and for like Black Panther. And I hope they go into that. I hope they go into Black Knight and Black Panther's history as well. But it's interesting seeing Kit Harington as like, it seems like the obvious choice. It seems like too obvious to get Kit Harington, the guy who played like the Knight in Game of Thrones. He was like the main character of Game of Thrones, and getting him to play Black Knight in the MCU. But you realise they're two completely different characters. But the end credit scene is him looking at the ebony blade, like, I'm going to pick it up, I'm going to pick it up. He's like hyping himself up to pick it up. And then you hear a voice, which is very obviously Mahershala Ali. And he's like, are you sure you want to pick that up yet? And I'm like, what? Fucking Blade? Blade? Why is Blade at the end of our Eternals movie? Why the fuck is Blade here? I mean, I love it because it means we're leading towards MI13. Probably doing Vampire State. And that's probably going to be what the Blade movie is. The Blade movie is probably going to introduce Captain Britain, which, you know, Captain Britain is one of those characters which is like, I don't have any affiliation for. I don't know why I like him so much. It's like I've read him in barely anything, but also I just love it when he shows up. Whenever he shows up, it's like, yeah, it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good story. Yeah, this is going... That is really the most exciting thing about the movie, is the possibility for, you know, all these other British superheroes, like Spitfire, like Union Jack, like, fucking loads, Excalibur. You know, the X-Men are coming to the MCU soon. Excalibur. Why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? Get the European X-Men team together and make that a movie. Make it happen. Because I'm so excited by the possibility of British superheroes in the MCU. Because they're all really cool characters. You know, and I'm really excited for like more like characters that aren't just New York driven, and just seeing different areas in Marvel movies, just seeing different places essentially. Because to be honest, most of Avengers Endgame, although they do go to other areas that they've been to before in the MCU, like New York City and everything, most of that movie takes place in Avengers Mansion. The end fight scene is on the front garden of Avengers Mansion. Not much stuff actually gets destroyed, only the mansion or the Avengers building base area thing. So I want to see more areas in the MCU, more places, more countries, all that kind of stuff. Seeing Wakanda was cool. Seeing like Asia, China, and Shang-Chi was awesome. You know, visually that movie was insane. Visually this movie is insane. It's the best looking MCU movie. In my opinion, it looks so clean. The action sequences feel like they were directed instead of just, you know, slapped together. Because in a lot of MCU movies, it's like the action sequences are done by the effects team and they're not actually directed. Like, there's some direction, like they're told, oh yeah, here's something going down here, something's over there, something happens here, but it's like most of that, but then that something gets filled in by the effects team. Like, you don't act, the actors won't actually know what they're doing in the scene. The action sequences in this movie feel like they were actually directed by the director, which is something, which is saying something. And also, fucking awesome poster as well. I'm gonna start showing these off more in my reviews of the MCU movies going forward. And I know me saying Eternals is the best MCU movie of the year so far is like not really saying much, but the fact that it's Eternals and the fact that I'm looking at Spider-Man No Way Home and I'm thinking this movie might suck. That's my honest opinion of Spider-Man No Way Home, because there's so much they have to cram into that movie. Like, my gut reaction to watching the trailers, to watching everything, was like, this movie needs to be 3 hours long. Needs to be. The movie is 2.5 hours long. It's going to be 2.5 hours long. They came out and said, no, the movie's 2.5 hours long. It's 2 hours, 35 minutes. How the fuck are they going to do everything they need to do in that movie in 2.5 hours and make it feel complete and not just make it feel like a load of shit happening, or not leave it on a really shitty cliffhanger like, holy shit, fucking everyone shows up and then roll credits, then 2 after credit scenes, and then leave the theatre and wait for Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, and that'll be the cool movie. That'll be the one. I mean, I'm excited for Spider-Man 3 because we get to see more Tom Holland as Spider-Man, but, you know, the movie has a lot of shit happening in it. You know, if Tom Hardy's Venom is going to be showing up, if, you know, Doctor Strange needs to be in the movie for a considerable amount of time. The Sinister Six need to come together. They need the other 2 Spider-Men need to have some time in the movie. And also there needs to be a decent wrap-up of Tom Holland's Spider-Man's character arc. He needs to have at least gone through a character arc in the movies, because it feels like his character arc has been the same in every movie, and it's just been, oh yeah, I've got to learn how to be a good hero. Oh shit, I made a mistake. Oh shit, I've got to rectify it. And then in Far From Home, it was, I've got to learn how to get out of Iron Man's shadow. I made a mistake. Oh shit, I've got to rectify it. And this is like, I need to find out how to live with, I need to figure out how to get people to stop, like, knowing my secret identity, and I need to, like, prove that I'm not a murderer. Oh shit, I made a mistake. Oh shit, I need to rectify it. Like, that feels like the character arc of every MCU Spider-Man movie, and it's like, you're gonna do something different. Are you gonna not have Peter Parker make a mistake halfway through the movie? Are you not gonna have him blow up a boat, give glasses to the bad guy, or like fuck up a spell? You know, my thing is, hopefully the Spider-Man movie leads into a Spider-Man like Disney Plus show, and they can do something like episodic with it. It'll never fucking happen, because the Disney Plus shows have to be movies, and they have to work like the Netflix shows worked, which I don't understand why they have to do that, I mean, the characters that they've chosen, yes, it has to work like that, but why can't we just have an episodic Spider-Man show in live action with a movie budget, and or slightly lower than a movie budget, because you only have to do half an hour long episodes, but you can fit in every Spider-Man villain, or you can fit in most Spider-Man villains, because Spider-Man has the largest rogues gallery. He just does. He just has a really big, large rogues gallery, and all of them are good. There are no bad Spider-Man villains. I mean, there are bad Spider-Man villains that are shitty, but none of them are bad characters. None of them you would be like, oh shit, I don't want to see that character in a movie. But I mean, some may argue Tarantula, no one wants to see Tarantula in a movie, but I mean, if the MCU did Tarantula, I just walked out of Eternals and I enjoyed it. So, the MCU can probably do anything, and given the right team, they could probably make it right. But, yeah, at the end of the day, Eternals is great. To the people who don't like it, you're well within your right to not like this movie. It's a movie. It's not the end of the world. If you love this movie, like I do, great. Yeah, at the end of the day, Eternals is a movie. Your opinion on it is going to be different to the person sitting next to you. And, it does alienate its audience in, the first 5 minutes with the scrolling text in complete silence. That kind of threw me for a bit, and then the whole, first 15 minutes of the movie, there's, no dialogue at all. That kind of threw me for a loop, and I was like, oh shit. But yeah, I enjoyed Eternals, and it's the first MCU movie where I left it feeling like I just watched a movie, and not, I don't care about the movie, what's the next one? This is the first one that made me go oh shit, I like everything about this film, and it feels like a film. It feels like a movie. That's kind of what I want from Marvel movies going forward. I want it to feel like a movie. I want to leave it thinking about what happened in the movie, and about philosophical questions that the movie asks. Obviously, I don't want the next Spider-Man movie. I don't want to leave No Way Home thinking, oh shit, I need to think about life, the universe, and everything. But yeah, the next movie they do, like Eternals, I should probably be asking a few questions when I leave the cinema. I should probably. Why the fuck is Harry Styles playing Star Fox in 5 movies? But yeah, I really liked Eternals. If you can go watch it, but don't put yourself in harm's way to go watch it. At the end of the day, it's just a movie, and no movie is worth getting sick over. But yeah, Eternals is probably going to be coming to Disney Plus soon, so watch it on Disney Plus. I'll see you. If you have watched Eternals and you enjoyed it, let me know in the comments below. If you didn't enjoy it, let me know in the comments below. I'll see you guys in the next video. I'll see you guys over on Twitch. Peace.